Hi everyone, and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to talk about the activity diagram, and I'm going to use visual paradigm to draw this activity diagram. So the first thing that we're going to do, we can go to the diagram on the tab here, and then after that you would choose new, and from there you will choose the exact diagram that you want. Since we're going to draw an activity diagram, I'm going to choose the first one. If you didn't see your diagram here, you can search it up here and it's going to show up. So I'm going to choose next. Then it will give me some options. I can choose either these options or I can just go with the blank one. I'm just going to choose a blank one and then click next. Then you can choose a name for your activity diagram. Since I want to show you how to make an activity diagram for registration, I'm just gonna write activity diagram registration and then click OK. Okay, so when we are looking at this panel, there are so many options here that you don't normally use when you're making an activity diagram. It depends what type of activity diagram you're making, but most of these options are not going to be used. And there is an explanation beside each one of them that you can go through and figure out if it is something that you want to use or not. I'm just going to go through the ones that are frequently used and the ones that I'm going to use for this tutorial. So there are two options here, activity and action, and they seem to be very similar. It seems that the only difference between activity and action is that action cannot be it's a single step, so you can't decompose it anymore. But for the activity is more of the main one, and if you want to go more in depth, you can separated in different type of actions. But if you want to print it, since both of them look very similar, so this is activity and this is an action, they look pretty similar. So if you're printing it, it doesn't really make a difference if you're using an activity or action. I'm just going to delete both of these, and so then we have the decision node. Decision node is whenever in the past that you're passing in your creating an activity diagram, sometimes you have multiple decisions that your user or your system can make, and then you're using a decision node. So in programming we show that with if statements, and if you click this triangle down here, you will see more options. You can either choose fork node or join node. It's when you have more than 2 or 3 options, you can choose either fork node or join node. So fork node is when you're separating your options, and join node is when you're putting them together, joining them together. So these are the 3 options that you have. And then whenever you're making an activity diagram, you have to start that with an initial node, and this is your initial node, and you have to end your activity diagram with an activity final node, and this is your activity final node. Then input pins, not something that you would use frequently. The next thing that's going to be more frequent is your swim lane. Here is your horizontal swim lane, and if you want a vertical swim lane, you just click the triangle here and it will give you the option of the vertical swim lane. And then we have the control flow and the object flow here. Normally, because both of them again look very similar, so it doesn't really make a difference if you're going to print it. It doesn't really make a difference if you're using control flow or object flow, and for this tutorial I'm just going to use the control flow. And then sometimes you want to put a note somewhere in your activity diagram, and this is going to be the note that you're going to be using. So now let's get started with the registration diagram. First, I'm just gonna put in swim lane, vertical swim lane diagram here, and then you can just resize it to however you want it. So this is going to be a website. I'm gonna have a user, and then I'm going to have the system or the website. So as we said earlier, we have to start any activity diagram with the initial node. So I'm going to put my initial node here, and you can align it to the middle like that. And then after that, my user have to log into the home page of the website. So I'm just going to use an activity here. Just going to say go to the main page, and you can make this smaller. Then the next step is a choice, because your user is either a registered user or an unregistered user. So you will have an option of logging in or registering. So since I have an option, I need a decision node here. So I'm going to put a decision node, drag and drop it. And then after that, I have two activities here. They can either log in. This is definitely should be smaller, or they can register. So these are the two options. And let's make this a little bit bigger too. Okay, and after that, if you log in, is just everything. Let's just put these two okay, so if you want to log in, you're just gonna go out. If you want to register, then you have to go to the next step, which is entering the information. So you prompt the user to enter their information. I'm going to choose an activity here. Prompt user. So I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger so everything fit in. Okay. Then after that, our user is going to enter their information. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. So another activity, come here. Enter information. Just gonna make this smaller. And then after that, so the information that the user entered, it has to be verified. For example, you might use email that doesn't have the format of the email, or you might use your password might not be might not satisfy all the requirements of the website. So you want to check for all of those, and then after that it will give you two options. Either it will accept all of the information, or it will prompt the user to enter the information again, and that's gonna happen inside of your system or the website. So we're gonna have another activity there, and the system will check the information. You actually don't need this because we can just do it with one of those decision nodes. So I'm going to delete that, and I'm just gonna drag a decision here. Okay. And then just gonna drag this a little bit down. Okay. And after that, with the decision, there are two things that's gonna happen. Either the information is correct, you will move on, or the information is not correct and you're going to prompt the user to enter the information again. Information is correct. Prompt the user to enter information again. Okay, so that is another decision that is supposed to be made here. And after that, it's either prompt the user to enter the information again, so that means it will go back to enter the information, and then it will come back to check for the decision. If the information is correct, is just going to go out. So then our activity final node will come here. So that means that you can just get out of these this case. So now we're going to connect them together. I'm just gonna try to see if it works like this. If not, we're just going to drag and drop. So we want to connect that to an activity, and the activity name is go to the main page. So that is going to be connected like that, and then from the main page we want to connect it to decision node 2. So we're using that, and then decision node 2, and from there it is connected to our activity, which is register, and another one is going to be connected to login. So those are those two. So for the decision node 2 here, can say, can I actually delete that? Yeah. And then after that, from login, if the person already have an account and they log in, you just want them to get out of the case. So you will choose the, I forgot what the name of it is. It's just let's see if it works. destination. No. So let me see if I can just connect it like that. I can't. No, I don't want that. So I'm just gonna delete this. And I'm going to drag and drop one of the control flows here. And from there, I'm going to connect it here. But can't take this out like that. Okay, and then I can move this a little bit here. This one. Okay, I think that's better. Okay, and then after that, you either do login, which is going to get you out of this activity, and or you have to do the registration. So if you have to do the registration, then you have to go to the next step, which is the activity, which is called prompt the user. Oops, that's not it. So I can even use Control Z to delete something, to go back one step. So I have to use the prompt user to enter information. So prompt user to enter information. I can just bring that in the middle. Okay. And then prompt the user to enter the information. It will go back to the user, and so we're going to the other activity, which is enter information. I can bring this down a little. Then from there, we're going to the decision that is done by the system. Oh, it's not an activity, it's going to be the decision node. So decision node 3. Then from there, we're connecting it to prompt the user to enter the information again, or what's the other option? Information is correct. So information is correct. So these two, and then if the information is correct, oh, we have to add that the account is created. So I can add that. Here. Can bring this down and put this here. Create the account. So create the account. So if the information is correct, we will connect it to create the account, and from there it's going to go connector. Okay, so then create the account, and we need another one to connect it to the final node. So I will choose the control flow, No, I don't want that. Choosing the what is happening? Let me try to get that up a little. This one as well. Let me try one more time. If not, then I will name my node. Okay, I'm just gonna name my node so I can use the so I just named that node, and I will connect it with this, and it called node, so that's better. We're just connecting it from the middle. And then if the information wasn't correct, you want to prompt the user to enter the information again. That means that you have to go back to this use case, this activity. Going to connect it to prompt user to enter the information. Actually, I made a mistake there, because from here, prompt the user to enter the information. You can just go to the enter the information because you already prompt your user. So I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to connect this to enter the information, and then it will go through this loop. That makes more sense. So I'm going to connect that to enter information. I have to push this a little bit here. Okay. So this is good now. Just gonna bring this in the middle around here. Okay, so what's happening is that we start from our first node, and then we go to the main page. From there, there is a decision. You either log in or register. If you already have an account, you log in and you will go out of this activity. If you don't have an account, you will go for registration, and then when you go there, it will prompt you to enter your information, and then you enter your information. Then there is another decision to make sure that the information you made are correct. Or we can write confirm information. I put that on top here. So you will confirm the information. So either the information is correct, so you create the account, or the information is not correct, and you will prompt the user to enter the information again. And we actually can make a change here, because we want to say the information is either correct or it's incorrect. So let's do that here. So I'll put another activity here. okay, and I will say information is not correct. So then from my decision, I will connect it to this activity, which is information is not correct. And after that, I'm going to connect that to prompt the user to enter the information again. Bring this in the middle. And then from there, I'm going to connect it to enter information. So this makes more sense. Yep. So this is how we're creating an activity diagram. I hope you enjoyed this video and see you in next video. Bye.